So following on from my last video where we're focusing in on specific emotions, I thought we would in this video concentrate on regret. Dictionary definition: feeling sad, repentant or disappointed over something that one has done or failed to do. And in that context, I think that regret and guilt can be joined together. I looked at the definition for guilt and it was framed within a legal context, which I didn't want to go down. But I think that in the context that I'm discussing regret, it is also linked with guilt. And so, well, who doesn't have regrets? Regrets live in the past. They're about something that has already happened. And again, in this context, it's about something that we have either done or failed to do. And so we find ourselves thinking about that specific action, something that we said or did or failed to say or what it didn't do. And that is a regret that we have now. I would suggest that all regrets live in the past, and as such they've happened and can't be changed. And so it's important to realise that before one gets sucked into the labyrinth of could haves, should haves, shouldn't haves. Because in that area what we're doing is we're trying to rewrite history. We're trying to go back and imagine what would have been, how things would have been different, had we acted in a certain way, had we done something different. And I think if we bring into that emotion and that stream of thought the obvious and stark reality that we can't change the past. And so how does one then live in the present moment and move into the future with what is often a huge burden of regret? You can maybe think of a specific example in your own life as we discuss this. It might be easier to focus on a specific event or period in your own life. Of course, regrets can be broader than just one specific action or deed. It could be a regret of how we were in a period of our lives, how we behaved towards others, the effect we had on other people because of where we were within our own psyche, within our own way of being. Maybe we were confused and that spilled out into a whole series of actions and ways of being and things that we said that we regret. So you can regret a period of time in your life and wish you could go back and live that again and put things right. But again, it's still back to the stark reality that it's happened and you can't change it. And so how do we bring peace to that? Well, the first thing to realise is that we can't change it, and then we need to forgive ourselves rather than beat ourselves up, because regret and guilt can eat away at one's own sense of well-being and can negatively affect our own way of being in the world, and of course negatively by implication affect those who we come into contact with or who share our lives. And so a recognition that we acted the way we did because at that moment in time, or that period of our lives, and at that level of conscious awareness that we had at the time, we couldn't have acted any differently. And so we're not accepting the current situation, we're accepting the past situation. And with that acceptance, we forgive ourselves for the thing that we regret and feel guilty about. That's not to say that we don't learn from it and incorporate it into our way of seeing the world and functioning in the world, and our reaction to events and our interaction with other people. We recognize it and say that, yes, if I was faced with that situation now, I would act differently, because I've learned from the mistakes that I made in the past, and hopefully I'm a better person than I was through recognizing the mistakes and the things that I could have done differently. But again, a recognition that at that level, at that time, and that level of conscious awareness, back then, you were different. You weren't the person you are now, and you forgive that earlier version of yourself. And then the regret, the guilt, has a chance to drop and not eat away at you in a negative, life-draining manner that takes from you and removes any sense of peace in the moment, and then spills out into other areas of your life and negatively affects those around you. So you bring a peace in the moment by forgiving the past version of yourself, and recognizing that you could have acted in a different way in one sense, but you didn't. And you didn't because you didn't have the awareness at the time to see the consequences perhaps of those actions or those words that you said or didn't say or didn't do. It's the only hope for moving forwards in a positive, nurturing way, both to yourself and then to the world around you. It's a sensible and pragmatic approach. It's psychologically healthy, but if you only do it just for your own sense of peace, then that's enough. Make peace with the past and forgive the earlier version of yourself, because that earlier version of yourself didn't know any better at the time. And you can make the argument, well, I knew better at the time and I still went ahead and did it. But again, the fact is you did it, and that's something that you can't change. So you forgive the fact that even knowing better at the time, you still did it. You still make peace with that version of yourself. And then you can maybe wake up and see what's happening around you and take in the present moment and not have it poisoned by these thoughts, these emotions that take over you and drag you back into a past that has gone and is dead. And instead you start living in the peace of the present moment, and that gives you a chance of creating a better future for yourself and for everyone that comes into contact with you.